There you are. Welcome back to the channel. We have all types of creepy videos, disturbing TikToks, and just outright scary theories coming right at you. Without further ado, let's dive in.
There is not a single they here. Certainly multiple factions of the same species, if not multiple species. What I have learned is that we live in a dream, a carefully constructed reality. We make use of a science that is tightly controlled and suppressed and distorted. I think we are left behind.
Humans.
I think normies, the normal humans, the people have been left behind. Us.
Mm-hmm.
People need to understand that we might have freedom of speech, but that has been subverted. We do not have freedom of inquiry. We are blocked from learning what we need to know. Just in the public world, we are blocked from advancing in science. We are taught false science intentionally to prevent us from learning more. We live in the Matrix. It's just much more boring than the movie.
I realized I was looking at a cloaking device on a very, very, very large craft that seemed to encompass the whole desert area that I was under. At that moment in time, I glanced and panned my view just to try to get fathom the dimensions of this craft. And I saw a giant bright white light floating in the sky. And it was a hangar bay door opened. Couldn't see doors. It was just a bright white light. And it looked like a window floating through the sky, maybe even a portal. People might, from a distance, think, hey, that's a portal, but I obviously knew it was a craft. So this is a hangar bay door. And there was a female silhouette standing there. At that moment in time, I heard that same voice, and it said very clearly, you were not supposed to see that. You weren't supposed to see it. All of a sudden, I began feeling a thud, thud, thud sound. This was a resonant frequency being pulsed through my body. As I felt this, it increased in speed. Thud, 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 thud. It was very rapid. You can see the same type of thing in the movie Interstellar. Very similar when he falls through the black hole. Too similar. As this thud resonated in my body, I felt my my cells, maybe the quantum level of my body, feel like it was being resonated. I felt like maybe I'm going to be microwaved, or something to that nature. Either way, I seen some bands coming through. I began lifting up off the ground. My vehicle began lifting with me also. As this happened, my body tipped back, and I could see the underbelly of the craft. You're going to see that design right in front of you. The rectangular shape right in the center there looked like a docking socket for an electrical port. If you're going to take a big male end, this would be the female receiving end for an electrical charger. To skip through that, there were some there's some highlighted parts here, and as you can read them there, I'm going to let you read that for yourself, just for time's sake. However, as this happened, instantaneously, I cued in, and I was flat on my back, and I was staring up at the ceiling, and my vision cued into a very, very bright white light. My vision panned over, and there was my wife flat on her back on a table. It was smaller than the table I was laying on, slightly lowered, and she still had the same exact expression on her face, like she was screaming no. However, she was no longer stuck in the running position. She was flat. As I panned a little more in front of me to kind of gauge where I was at, and this all happened in milliseconds, guys. This was, oh crap, what's happening? So this is a very short encounter here. As I panned over, I saw my vehicle with the right passenger tires end lifted up. I saw some people in some white suits, fully garmented, masks with some breathing apparatuses. They were working on the vehicle. Slightly next to that was a strange blue rack that looked like it could have been an automotive rack. Could have had another purpose. That was my quick assumption. As I oh, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, well, if you want to just finish it up.
Yes, sir. So after that had happened, I saw a female right next to me. She was taking some samples from me. It was a human female. She had red hair. She had very fair skin. And after that moment, I also, as I panned over, I could see the window and the desert behind me. I realized we were not in space. I could see the desert floor. I could see the exact 2 rock formations and one far off in the distance. So this is pinpointed by GPS coordinates. So after that, I panned a little more over, and as I seen this open up and the bay door behind her open, or maybe just transparent, and I could see out. I also seen that craft right here docked in the ship. And that came through me after trying to get these schematics down on paper while talking to Michael Scratch. So thank you, sir. This man went through PTSD with me. So thank you, Doctor.
Awesome.
I realized I was looking at a cloaking device on a very...
Man, I believe him. He didn't stutter at all. You know, you can obviously look at his eyes. He's been through some stuff, man. I just hope he can be okay.
Yale University posted the most cursed book in history to the internet, and it's driving people insane. A 250-page medieval codex written in an unknown language that no one has been able to decipher for over 600 years. But an Egyptologist claims he cracked it and knows exactly what it says. The Voynich manuscript is an ancient book filled with this unknown writing and drawings that suggest it might be some sort of manual for black magic or sorcery. Written sometime between 1404 and 1438 on pages made from calfskin in an indecipherable text that we haven't been able to translate. It's kind of crazy to look at. Like, it obviously says something and has a clear linguistic structure to it, but we just have no idea what any of this means. Everyone has tried to solve it. Mathematicians, computer scientists, linguists, historians, the FBI. Even the cryptographer who famously cracked the German Enigma code, Alan Turing, gave it a shot and failed. Along with the text, the book is filled with cryptic pictures of plants, creatures, astronomy, and women in bathtubs. The book is divided into roughly 4 sections: herbal, astrological, balneological, which is the study of the therapeutic use of baths, and pharmacological, medicine. First, the herbal section is filled with diagrams of plants that don't even exist, at least not on Earth, shaped like stars, circles, and other strange growth patterns. Some pages even have weird looking animals on them, like this little seahorse thing nibbling on one of the leaves, and other mythical looking creatures all throughout, thought to be either a botanical guide or some sort of instructions for alchemy, telling the user what plants to use and for what. Then the astrological section gets interesting as the pages fold out and show complex maps of the night sky and potentially even deep space, featuring known constellations like Sagittarius, Pisces, and Aries, but they're just a little bit off from what they're supposed to look like. And there are even some star charts that are completely unknown to us, either just made up or showing us a part of space we're not aware of. Balneological gets weird, featuring naked women in baths and pools in all sorts of odd shapes. Some of the baths even being shaped like a woman's ovaries, with them lounging in their tubes which pour back into the larger tubs. And again, since we have no idea what any of this text is saying, the context can range from anything as innocent as women's hygiene to sacrificial rituals. The final pharmacological section is basically all writing. Many pages of thick text assumed to be recipes for medicine or maybe magic potions, all written in the elusive Voynichese language, as it's being called, that still remains a mystery, until people started insisting they solved it. It's kind of like English in that it's written left to right and appears to have 20 to 25 different letters, but the book's history suggests otherwise. The manuscript circulated in relative obscurity since it was written in the 1400s, getting purchased and passed along by emperors and alchemists who saw interest in it. It then disappeared for about 250 years, where we don't know who had possession and what happened to it, and was later brought to popular attention by Polish bookkeeper Wilfrid Voynich in 1912, who rediscovered it and dedicated his life to it, and is where the book gets its name. It was later donated to Yale's manuscript library, where it still physically remains today, and in 2020 they published the entire manuscript to their digital library, which you can view yourself. For hundreds of years, no one could figure out what this book was about, but in 2020, German Egyptologist Rainer Hennig claims to have cracked it. His analysis shows us that Voynichese is based in a Semitic language, most likely being Hebrew in origin. Nope, don't you dare say it. Cross-referencing Voynich characters with certain Hebrew letters, he managed to translate a few words, followed by full-on sentences. And it says a whole bunch of gibberish. Experts are not convinced this guy solved anything. One of his translations read, "I am a bull ready, which facilitates and renews house and ruins. You are a piece of lamb, which opens the mouth and is discouraged when I in I." Yeah. This isn't the first time. The Voynich manuscript has claimed to be deciphered dozens of times, and each one just doesn't quite make any sense. More recently, computer scientists at the University of Alberta used AI to help them translate the cryptic text, which also happened to determine that the language is likely Hebrew in origin. They even successfully translated the first sentence in the book, which reads, "She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me and people." Not much better. They insist they're making progress, but clearly it needs a lot of work. Regardless of what it says, many theories around the manuscript speculate what the codex could possibly even be about. Some people think it's just an ancient women's health manual, which looking at it kinda makes sense. I guess the astrological section would have been their zodiac column, right? Others say it was written by an inner circle of philosophers in a code that only they could understand, and the cipher died with them. Or perhaps the final logs by the last standing survivors of a forgotten civilization lost to time, written in their native tongue. Maybe even an alien from another planet who crashed on Earth over 600 years ago, and without any way to get back to his home planet, decided to chronicle his life's work on pages of calfskin. If it is a real language lost to time, it wouldn't even be the first we've ever come across. Like Rongo Rongo, another undeciphered script composed of glyphs discovered on Easter Island. This one's more hieroglyphic-y, but to this day we have no idea what any of this means. But still others say it's just an ancient hoax written by someone in the 1400s as a prank, which I think is more ridiculous than it being written by aliens, but that's just me. Tying it back to medieval occultists like Edward Kelly, who claimed to go into deep trances while communicating with angels, an act historically known as speaking in tongues, or glossolalia, and would write down what the angels told him in their native angel language that no one could read, speak, nor understand, claiming the Voynich manuscript is filled with that writing. But people say a lot of these angel speakers were nothing but scam artists, and this book was just a giant con to get people to believe something and is just literal chicken scratch gibberish. If this really is a hoax, that's some impressive looking fake language right there. I'm gonna stick with aliens. Final answer.
You guys gotta admit, those different looking drawings were definitely creepy. And how about that artifact found on Easter Island?
We make music for a purpose. It's not just background music, or it's not just, you know, fluffy, light stuff.
This is not elevator satanic music.
No.
Ritualistic music. It is music that by even the act of listening to it, you are participating in a satanic ritual.
How does it make you feel?
It's very stirring. It's very emotionally charged. You can't listen to this music and say you don't feel something, because you do. I'm sure you would probably feel either hate or fear or rage or something.
You're pretty good at marketing yourself.
That's
Well,
the
that's
devil's
our
place.
job.
Illusion and
You mean the
showmanship
devil is alive and well in Madison Avenue?
Of course, advertising
I
is
think
the
you and I
devil's
agree with
trade.
that.
The act of manipulating and using the will and using ritual to create change is, by any definition, satanic. And anyone who does that is, at least an ipso facto, Satan.
We make music for a purpose.
Call me crazy, but she looks just like a popular celebrity, doesn't she? UFO scanning spectators over North Carolina coast. Let's take a closer look.
From Sky.
Yeah, as soon as I walked up, there was a couple trailing each other. Where are they sitting?
I see a lot of stuff when we're up at tops. It's fascinating. I know I
Oh
showed
yeah,
you.
there they are. They're up there, man. Yeah, these are all definitely moving.
There you go.
Even those, and I think it's the dipper with the clouds.
Wow. Yeah, no, those are definitely on the move. Look at that. I love it. It's so wild being around like a whole crowd just pumped out. You know, like I was always alone just doing this stuff.
Right? Yeah. How do I find UFO friends? You know, UFO hunting groups. That is cool. But they was really getting scanned. I don't know if you guys saw that. They was getting scanned like a Dollar General coupon.
Guys, I really can't make this shit up right now. Everybody inside this bus is getting scanned up, guys. Everybody inside the bus is getting scanned up. and they have no idea what's going on. None. Look, they start scanning you up once you turn off. Once they close the door, they start scanning you up, guys. Once you close the door and you start going, they start scanning you up. They have no idea, guys. Everybody inside that bus is getting scanned up.
They getting scanned up 100%. They're getting scanned like a UPC code. What's on your barcode?
No, this is crazy. Me and my wife got away for the weekend. No, this is crazy. Me and my wife got away for the weekend. Some told me to just do this for some reason. And at 10:30, somebody tried to come in our room. Call front desk, it says the engineer. You gotta follow your first mind.
See, this is exactly why I don't go anywhere or don't do anything. It's just too much going on. Yeah, I want to go see all the old structures and stuff, but that's it. I'm going right home after that, you know? Museum, so a couple old structures, home. If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. Feast your eyes on this rare fluorite spectacle. Of course, you can see the octahedrals dance as the glacier-colored mineral is presented before us. Small hints of purple inside. The translucent truly is a spectacle. If I had to name this piece, I would call this sky ice. You guys already know I had to double up on you. Look at this tourmaline. Look at how it's all going one way. You got the other one going the opposite way. Oh no, it's going everywhere. Oh, that's a huge piece. Wow. That piece is massive. Gives me like a cotton candy Jolly Rancher vibe. What is this? How does this form? Something's not adding up. How does that form? I want to know. This is a spectacle.
Look, I'm not here to entertain you. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to say out loud what everybody already feels and is too afraid to name. The world is not broken. It's rigged, engineered, systemically inverted, and sold to us as normal. You don't live in a society. You live in a managed plantation of exhausted humans born into debt, trained to obey, and told that freedom only exists if you can afford it. You work your whole damn life just to barely afford water, food, shelter, and a few days off, while the earth itself produces all of it freely. Food is not scarce. Water is not scarce. Energy is not scarce. It is gate-kept, hoarded, packaged, metered, monetized.
Tartaria was everywhere, and history as we know it has been completely fabricated. At first we thought maybe the Dark Ages were just unclear, but it turns out they were invented to push a lot of events further into the past. We realized that it wasn't just small parts of history that might be wrong. Everything was made up. One fascinating thing is the architecture we find around the world. In almost every city, you'll find ancient Gothic-style buildings with incredibly intricate designs. People look at them and say, oh, that's just how they built things back then. But some of these buildings are absolutely stunning. Think about it. If we lived in a feudal society where everyone was working just to survive, how would anyone have had the time, resources, or motivation to build something so elaborate and that worked the way they did? These buildings weren't just practical structures like free energy generators. They were artistic expressions. They were built to be functional and beautiful, to celebrate what was being created. But we don't build like that anymore. The complexity and beauty of these structures are clues that we didn't live in the same pay-to-survive system we're trapped in now. Tartaria was a global civilization, incredibly advanced and powered by free energy, likely based on etheric energy. It existed up until about 200 or 250 years ago. Estimates place its early origins around the mid-17th century, and its destruction came shortly after. They've been lying to you all along. Tartaria was everywhere.
That was a good point. The motivation alone to build some structures like that. You know it's going to be a good clip once you start seeing airships.
David Shane caught this with his telescope. I don't know about you, but I see a gown, wings, and a halo. Looks like an angel to me. And David Shane has caught a lot of stars, not looking like what NASA says stars are. And he's an astronomer, just like you and I, though. He doesn't believe the narrative. And he goes and takes pictures that I think are just amazing. So these are highlights, and you can pause and take a closer look at some of these, but it's unexplainable. Like, what are these? Is that a ninja star? I don't know, but they look like they have life, like they're watching over us, a lot of these. So they're definitely not what NASA tells us. And if you look at the biblical depiction of stars, they actually have personalities. That looks like a dove, okay? And that looks like wheels within wheels, or an eye looking down on us. Some of these look like crafts, even, of some sort. But you can kind of see where these things may have life. So make sure that you follow David Shane and check it out. He's got a lot of really awesome content, and don't miss it.
If I woke up in the middle of the night and whatever this was popped up in front of my face, I would be terrified. Maybe that's why they say, be not afraid. Is this her real TikTok? Guys, the symbolism is absolutely crazy. Did you guys notice this wolf back here behind her? Or is that a lamb? I don't know what it is. But satanic vibes, 100%. These are the people who you argue with on the internet. Oh man, they're not real people, they're bots. Are those cell phones? They're cell phones. I thought it was like routers or something, but they're each individual cell phones plugged in. Is this like some type of phone bank or something? Man. This is where NPC/bots come from. I get it. They accidentally found a world map of 1920s.
You don't want to feel from the other side of this. Look at that.
All right, guys, there's something fishy afoot. What do we got? We got the Monopoly piece boat right here, but seriously though, look how large this continent is. This is massive. And what's up with these blue holes everywhere? Look how small the United States is. It's like everything is so much larger.
Oh my gosh, look. Oh. I didn't even know that was over here. It's like, okay, I'm done. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
It was a pretty cool thing. The turtle responded to the vibration. That was actually a huge painted turtle.
It's this kind of laser technology that actually created all these ancient Indian temples. For example, look at all these ancient rotating mechanisms in these temples. Do you really think they were created with a hammer and chisel? Now look at this beauty on your screens. This is the ancient Kailash temple, and it is definitely one of the most unique architectural wonders of the world. The fact that this is the most gigantic construction carved out of one piece of stone means that its creators had no right to make a single mistake. But the most curious thing is that according to Indian legends, this temple in general was built in a week. And if we decided to build such a temple today, we would need these 5 mining machines, and that they, for 50 days, will make only rough processing. And here, small details will require manual labor, but only with the help of an ordinary hammer. It is impossible to create them. And this is where laser technology comes to the rescue, as on this video, the author of this video claims that he owns the secret of his ancestors and knows the truth how these temples were created. Just look at how magnificent and intricate it is, as those very Indian temples. It's this kind of laser technology that
100%. 100%, that's how Kailasa was built. The type of UFO that was hovering over it and projected that type of CNC laser, we don't know. But that's what they did. 100%. A new video of an alleged Bigfoot on the upper Colorado River. How come they didn't zoom in?
You're looking at petrified dragons, not dinosaurs. The word dinosaur was only created in the 1800s. They told us that dinosaur bones were in the ground for millions of years, but I really don't think they'd still be there. Most of the bones you see all come from dragons and reptilian creatures. There wasn't just one reset, we've been reset many times. Different beings, civilizations, and creatures lived. It's always hidden in plain sight. They show you all the mythical creatures that once lived in movies, just to throw it in our faces and show us what really lived. And please don't be telling me that these are carvings. You can tell that they're petrified bones. Dragons didn't get made up one day. You can't make something out of nothing. Dragons really did exist, along with many other mythical creatures. They turned real history into myths, and they said that they were stories. Wake up and understand that mythical creatures did once live, and stories are real. Stay blessed, guys.
Every single culture talks about dragons, or I feel like most of them do. The question is, where are they at now? I think there's lands that no one knows about, and they're over there. Well, I'm sure some people know about it, but some hidden lands maybe Admiral Byrd was talking about.
The decipherment of hieroglyphs was made possible by the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone contained the same text in 3 scripts: hieroglyphic, demotic, and ancient Greek. By comparing the Greek text with the hieroglyphic and demotic scripts, scholars were able to unlock the meaning of the hieroglyphic symbols.
That shows how much I know. I thought a Rosetta Stone was like, what was it? You can learn Spanish, I think? Rosetta Stone. What was it? Here it goes. Yeah, I didn't know Rosetta Stone. I thought Rosetta Stone was an actual software. I didn't know it was a literal stone. Oh, now I see why they got the idea. You learn something new every day. Did a spirit push this dog over? Let me know what you think. Okay.
In this next scary video, a dog gets an unwanted visitor. Watch this. In this next scary video.
Alright guys, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. This dog was attacked by a spiritual demon. Its soul got pushed by the spiritual demon That's how it was able to do that flip. Because look how it looks back at it. Like, what was that? Animal spirit got pushed over by another spirit in the spirit realm. That's what's going on. Oh, you don't believe in ghost stories? Well, you better buckle up, bucko, because you're living in one. Come here. Cymatic bubbles reveals 3D shape of sound. If he kept going, we'll see like a mini portal bust open. Did you see how it almost was forming two different circles at the end? Look, it's a mushroom. Started as a mushroom, and that boy was forming. If it forms two circles, if you see it trying to form two circles, I'm telling you, that's going to be like a mini Stargate. It's trying to touch. What a sight. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted in spectacular fashion, sending lava 1,000 feet up into the air. Its 23rd eruptive episode. What's going on, man? I just feel like stuff's erupting lately, you know? Like, what is going on? What is stirring in the great deep? How extraordinary. You're just having a lovely day on the beach and you just happen to witness what? Etna erupting today? I'm telling y'all, something's fishy afoot. You guys can't tell me all this different stuff erupting all over the world isn't something ain't up. First thing that comes into mind, what's under us? The foundations. Under the foundations, the great deep. What's in between the foundations and the great deep? Agartha. What's inside Agartha? What's next to Agartha? Sheol. What's inside Sheol? Possibly Tartarus. Is Tartarus inside Sheol? Is it on the side of Sheol? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go there. I just was thinking about a volcano. I have no idea how that happened. Something's going on under us. But we're going to jump on these dark waters and try to figure it out.
So they are not aliens?
No. What we call aliens are simply the civilizations living beyond the ice wall of Antarctica. It's not some distant galaxy or a sci-fi fantasy. It's Earth. Right here, hidden in plain sight, but beyond what we're allowed to see. These advanced civilizations have technology so beyond our understanding that when their ships soar through the skies, we mistake them for extraterrestrial crafts. But they're not from space. They're from regions on this planet we've been kept from exploring. Why the lie? The oligarchs, the ones pulling the strings, want to keep us in fear of the unknown.
The custodians, the Anunnaki, the Draco reptilians, they all trying to MK Ultra us.
Aliens, outer space, it's all a smokescreen. They don't want us asking questions about what's really out there. These civilizations are light years ahead of us in tech and knowledge. That's why the narrative is controlled. They don't want you to even imagine the idea that there's more to Earth than you've been told. But trust me, it's not aliens coming for us. It's advanced beings from right here, beyond the icy borders we're forbidden to cross.
This is just a theory, not a fact. So they are not aliens?
No.
No. Let me enlighten you. What an interesting theory.
The Great Sphinx, one of the most oldest acknowledged megalithic sites, carved by a single block of limestone. But I think there are far more than just this one in Egypt. Take a look at these ruins in Pakistan, with a striking resemblance to the Sphinx you'll see in Egypt. These Sphinx complexes, just like the pyramids, were part of a great civilization, a great connected civilization, and they were worldwide. You will find evidence of that everywhere, even in the Grand Canyon in America. No wonder why most of it is blocked off and restricted no-fly zones, even drones. But take a look at this video from Guatemala and let me know, do you think this is another one of those sphinxes? It could perhaps also be a mud fossil from our much larger past. At first I thought it was a mud fossil, but then when the video zooms out and cuts over to the right here, you can see the top of a pyramid sticking out of the clouds. Let me know what you think in the comments though. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
That's definitely fishy. How there's a Sphinx and then there's a pyramid over there. Definitely interesting. But we have to be honest with ourselves. Take a good look at this Sphinx. Tell me that head is way too little for these ginormous paws. Look, this used to be a lion, and there's like a tail wrapped around it. This had a giant lion head. Look at the lion paws. They took the lion's head originally. It was originally a lion's head, and they chopped it down into this Sphinx with this flap, that do-rag, whatever you want to call it, behind them. It's a giant cover-up, y'all. Y'all need to wake up. If y'all think the Sphinx, they said, oh, we made this Sphinx. No. They found the Sphinx. One civilization before them, they found the Sphinx. It was like, oh, this will look good. Let's carve this up, y'all. Yeah, put a Sphinx head on it. It was a hijack. For entertainment purposes only, bucko. Alright guys, I'm not too sure what's happening here, but it's happening. What we got? Cathedral. Ooh, that's not your ordinary cathedral. Look at the pipe organs. They were healing in that thing. Getting their Davy Jones on. Look at those. I wonder if the same technology they carved out in Kailasa, were they able to use it on these structures? Look at that face. This man is... Look at that face. Like, what type of expression is that, is the word I'm looking for. It's like he's overcome with joy, but he's worried at the same time. That's just one piece. There's thousands of pieces in this building, and that's just one. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know who built this. I don't know. Think about the motivation one has to have to build something like this. Look, he's yelling, looking at you. All types of pieces all around. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love to hear it.
The ley lines, these invisible highways of energy, are real. They are not man-made in the modern sense. Think of them more like Earth's nervous system. natural alignments of geomagnetic force that breathe through her body. Ancient cultures didn't invent them. They discovered them. They tuned into them. The lines crossed sacred places for a reason. Pyramids, stone circles, temples, all built where energy peaks, like acupuncture points on a living being. But your intuition is right too. Over time, these sacred lines were hijacked. Just like how sacred symbols and language were co-opted, the ley grid was overlaid with artificial systems, synthetic frequency nets, false light, even geoengineering. The ley lines, these invisible highways of energy.
Like on Avatar when she grabbed a tree branch and she was connected to her ancestors. Dang, that was good. Like that tree was a giant ley line, you know what I'm saying? So what if like all the souls of them swirls around these ley lines, you know? I don't know, it's just a theory. If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. This crystallized shell was not found at the beach. Ireland. On a hill in central India. Fascinating. Why? That just took a turn, a dramatic turn, didn't it? Oh my goodness. But yeah. Look at this top one. Almost looks like a rib cage in a seashell. Have you ever seen a crystallized seashell? This is ludicrous. If I had to name this specimen, the top one, I would name the top specimen crystallized rib cage. Ancient artifacts that don't make any sense. Oh boy, I wonder what they have for us.
Ancient artifacts that doesn't make any sense. The Babylonian Nokia. 2,000-year-old battery found in Iraq. Advanced aircrafts carved by the Egyptians. A spark plug found in a 500,000-year-old stone. A 100-million-year-old hammer encased in rock. Ancient sculptures that look like astronauts. Ancient artifacts.
Man, where are they getting these numbers from? As I'm looking at this, I'm wondering to myself, were they really this big? Was this a statue to, show people, look at me? Or was this like a replica and it's a possibility that this could be giants? A replica of a giant. Huge.
And if you have something called a jed, it looks like a Tesla coil, and it's all over Egypt. Everywhere you look in hieroglyphs, it's everywhere, and they have cables coming out of them, electric cables. They were connected to their electroplating devices, light bulbs, anything that needed electricity was connected to the jed. The jed would capture the ambient electricity from the obelisk. The obelisks were like electric wire poles in your neighborhood, basically, but just doing it all wirelessly. And by that method, they were able to transmit the wireless energy all around the region, and the jeds would capture that energy, and they can power whatever they wanted. Now, what's also interesting about the Great Pyramid, a small amount of that water would be pushed up into the pyramid and down into the Queen's Chamber. Now, the Queen's Chamber, when you analyze it and look at the x-rays of it, you discover something interesting. It operates like an electrolysis machine. Why electrolysis? If you use electrolysis with running water, you can extract the hydrogen atoms out of the water, which is what we do in different types of engines that we have right now. The Navy has a ship that never has to come back for gas because it just takes the water from the ocean, extracts the hydrogen atoms, and pushes it into a chamber for engine combustion, and they run on hydrogen. They don't run on gas anymore. And then if you have something called a jed, it looks like a Tesla.
Is that true? Do they have a hydrogen ship? Let me look it up. Navy hydrogen ship. The U.S. Navy turning the oceans into fuel. United States Navy going crazy. According to Naval, nearly 600 100 million gallons of fuel were delivered to the Navy vessels. In fact, they already had several projects. Fuel in general is hydrocarbon compounds, long-chain hydrogen, carbon. In theory, these two elements can be... This is in theory! This is a project. They're not doing that. He lied to us. This man lied to me. They might have one in DARPA, guys. They might have one on the low. They ain't telling us. The mainstream doesn't know about it, but it's not that far-fetched for me to believe that they got it, to be honest. A hydrogen ship, though? How cool is that? I feel like everybody should have one of those. If they take you fishing when you were young, return the favor. He's like, hey, what's up? You just record me? Okay.
This is the most remarkable experiment I think that I've ever done. I'll balance that, first of all, like a seesaw. So there is a balance point. When I take this out here, of course, then the balance point is upset. It should tip down. We know that given the opportunity, it's going to do this if it can, but now we've balanced it, and we've balanced it about its center of mass. So that if this gyro transfers its mass center to the pivot, it should stay balanced. The question is, will it? Let those who say I cannot make a body appear lighter than it is come and pull holes in that one. We shall proceed from larger gyros to still larger gyros. And this one, Bill, I think it was. This one weighs getting on for 15, 16 pounds. And we've got some spots on it so you can see its speed, and we're going to anchor it from the roof.
When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking wheel within a wheel. Ezekiel.
Showing it like a dog. They get rather big. Now I'm going to put a retort stand under what I believe to be the center of support. It's a bit difficult when the thing doesn't float, but it's right this way. How is it this way? It's about it. It gives you a general guide as to where the pivot point is. Right, we'll spin her up. When he hands this one to me, it's quite a handful. It has a mind of its own, and you want to turn it round, it says it wants to go back. There's a lot of energy in this wheel. Now, we are now giving it hardly any fetters whatever. It's only tethered to the roof, it's got no gimbal rings, it can go any way it pleases. It must surely want to rotate with its center of mass over the point, under the point of support. Thank you, buddy. Yep. Crank him up. Right. The Jabberwock isn't the only monster. Over the center of mass, over the center of support, there it goes. What will it do? "2001, A Space Odyssey," no less. Notice the angle it makes with the horizontal. It's tipped down a bit, In a moment, you'll see it rise again. Now it's coming in on a shorter orbit, and the wheel axis is now beginning to tilt upwards. It is going to maintain its center of mass on a horizontal plane, even though as a conical pendulum it appears to have raised. Now it's actually going out again, and it will perform a number of these orbits from an outermost orbit to an innermost, and it reminds one of an electron, jumping from orbit to orbit, because they're said to spin also. If we have the patience, we'll see it come in again and rise up again, and the gyro wheel is slowing by its own pivot friction, and it is remarkable how low a speed you can get and still have the gyro staying horizontal when it gets close in. It is liable to get settled into a very definite orbit like this, which is the time when I move in and say, is he going back? You think it'll do it itself? It seems to have got rather settled. I'll just disturb it a trifle.
Did he say I'll just disturb it to trifle? I gotta get my vocabulary up.
Come on. I didn't disturb it enough. Go in. No. What I wanted him to do, no, he won't do it now, I'll have to help him. He's running down, he's running very slowly. But what is surprising is you begin to see the spots now, because he's only running very slowly, and I'm going to slow it still more because of our lack of time. Slow it right down till you can really see those spots, and then say, will you still maintain that that shall be your axis of spin? And he says, yes, of course. Look at the rotational speed. It'll soon be down to the stage it's doing 1 revolution of precession per revolution of the rotor. And that is a most incredible machine. Something that you can try on a small scale with a toy gyro like this. Don't ever attempt it with this size, because it is very lethal indeed. This.
Supposedly, that is the planet Mars. And what I'm going to do in this video is give you the skill to pull out. You know what you're looking at there? Supposedly, that is the planet Mars. You know what you're looking at there? Supposedly, that is the planet Mars. And what I'm going to do in this video is give you the skill to pull out that hard Jenga piece as it's starting to wobble pretty good. So eventually that whole thing's going to crumble and you're going to have a whole new view of what this world you live in is.
The Hubble Space Telescope just captured this new image of Mars in May 2016 as Earth and Mars approached opposition when both planets are on the same side of the sun.
So again, this is what NASA, this is what the education school books in the public indoctrination systems, even into college, is telling you that Mars looks like. But why don't we look and see what Mars looks like from amateurs, from thousands and thousands and thousands of amateurs that capture Mars with their own Nikon cameras, with their own telescopes, and let's see what it actually looks like. It looks a little different. It looks like it's light shimmering in water. Interesting. Same planet, different telescope, different person, capturing somewhat of the similar thing we're seeing. See, the ancients, and probably even civilization until NASA came around, used to call the planets wandering stars. And all they were is they were lights. The only difference between them and the stars was that they had their own unique movement. Unlike just the circular pattern that the stars do around us, they had a pattern within the pattern. They were wandering stars, not planets. You see, we are taught from a very young age, very young, when we're still in the crib and a solar system is dangling over us, that we live in a solar system and there are other planets in our solar system. None of that is true. We live in a realm, an enclosed realm, and all we're seeing is lights in the sky, stars. There's no such thing as planets that have terrain that you can go land a rover on like Mars. Mars is the light that I just showed you, and it's nothing like they project or tell us in the news, in the school books, in the media. It's simply not. Not only are they not terrain balls millions of miles away, but there's something entirely different. If you know me, you know I'm going to find dogs. This is literally those videos of Mars. Dogs. So you know I find dogs in everything, but especially the stars. Here's one. This is from that Mars video. Here's its mouth is open, tongue, nose, eye, and eye. So its head is right here. There's another one right above it with its nose here, and an eye, and an eye. And I want to show you.
I'm sorry, but I do not see a dog. Like, I get like the waters and Mars and stuff, but a dog, I can't see it.
A few more, and then when it's really going to get weird is I'm going to show you the pictures of dogs in Mars of their fake CGI. Just let you know, even you truthers out there, you think you know what's going on. None of us really know what's going on. Why are there dogs in the stars? I think this is a pretty good one here. We've got a nose, an eye, 2 ears, so we got a dog head. Another one here with its nose and mouth. And there's an eye, and there's an eye, so we got the ear coming off. Just take a look at it. This one's a little tiny dog, so there's its tiny little nose and an eye, so its little face here actually almost more looks like a pony. You can see that one. I think this is the most obvious of all. I mean, if I have to point this out, I don't know, you just might need to get some glasses, but look at this one. Nose, eye, here's its snout. Look at the dog head there. Now, I want to show you the ones from the NASA CGI. Point some other ones out. Right here. Nose, eye, ear. Little ratty dog, but you see it? Again, this is from the NASA CGI from that video. Nose, eye. There's another one right here. Eye, nose. You need the right eyes for it. Right here we got one. Eye, nose. Right here.
All right, now I need to see how the dogs have anything to do with this, because this is crazy.
They hide them everywhere, guys. There's one up here, look. Nose, eye. It's up top there. Give it a second. You know what I was really good at as a kid? These. Do you remember these back in the 90s? You cross your eyes and refocus and you can see something. I'm going to give you a minute to see if you can find it. I found it. Give you a couple minutes or seconds, or you can just pause it. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it is a few cheerleaders up there. Okay, you're going to have to refocus the eyes. But back to the main point. Guys, this world is nothing like you think it is. We've been lied to about everything. Mars is simply a light with dogs, apparently, up in the sky. Who knows? Hopefully it's just our dog's soul.
What is going on here? Is this real? That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Double Up Tuesday. This was creepy videos, scary TikToks, and just disturbing theories that might just keep you up all night. Till next time.